What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I'm doing a little kind of, I guess, deck building challenge, which is really cool. Ideally here, what I want to focus on is making a deck that's like just kind of a 60 card pile, a bunch of different engines thrown into one, but still ends up being good, right? Like not just fitting as much as I can possibly can, because why not, but also still trying to make it have synergy and making it really, really good. Shout out to 3Stacks, by the way. Saw his profile there, and it kind of gave me inspiration to do something like this, but I do think there are different ways you can try to make a 60 card pile deck. So, you know, like I just want to go in on it. Just want to see what I can do, see what we can come up with, and then maybe down the line, after I pick up some cards post 2021 Megatins, show you guys an in-hand profile, because this might be just like more of a skeleton type video that gives you like just like the outline of what we could look at, what we could potentially see, and then hopefully maybe even go to a locals with the deck and see how we can actually perform there in one of the vlogs. So without further ado, let's start off by just going through and starting off with some of the most powerful engines that are very, very splashable. I think the first ones that come to mind are obviously Dogmatika. So what I want to do here is I really think triple Ecclesia is probably the move, because if we're in a 60 card pile, I still want to see Ecclesia. You don't really want to see Nadir plus Ecclesia, but honestly, if you do, it's not the end of the world. But ideally, we only really need to see one, but in a 60 card deck, playing 3 of both should be perfectly fine. I also like playing Fleur de Lis, kind of a brick, but it allows you to apply a lot more pressure here, so maybe we'll go with that. And for right now, I'll put 2 punishments in, just cause for the grind game. This could come up. Is it worth? Yeah, I guess it's probably still worth, right? We'll see. We'll see, because I guess if you have access to a second Ecclesia after you've done like Nadir turn 1 to get both Fleur de Lis and punishment, you have no search targets if you've gotten both on the first turn. So we'll leave 2 for now, and we'll come back to that later. One other really cool one that I want to look at here is Generator. This is such a cool like engine. I don't think this deck really performs well enough by itself, but this is like such a crazy like package here. So we'll do boss stage, and then I think all you really need is Har. How do you spell Har? Is it A-O? How do you spell him? Oh, maybe it's just A in the TCG. Yeah, he is just A. But I also want to throw Utgarda out there, because the idea here is you could play 2 Har, obviously, but the idea is that there's a little bit of extra flexibility and the ability to actually pick and choose which one you want, or if you draw one, you still have the other in deck to summon off of boss stage. The idea is that like you should never ideally be drawing boss stage plus Har plus Utgarda, maybe at most a stage plus one of them, but then the card will still get you value. You just get so much value off of just this one card. I don't think I want to play the trap, because the trap gives your opponent a free draw, and that sucks. That will always suck. It sucks. Okay, next up, where do we want to go from here? I think the next engine I want to look at here is probably Rockets. They're so splashable. They work within like their own confines here. But the other thing that's huge is the one dude. What's his name? So I think we only really need, well, do we need 1 and 1, or do we need 2 and 1? Let's put 2 in for now. Or actually, I don't even know what the right ratio is. So let's do 2 and 2, just cause I have no idea. And then what's the other one called? I can't remember that other one. The one though when it's sent. Damn it. Dragon's Ravine. Oh, this one. Absa Router. I don't know if you play 1 or 2. We'll put 2 in there for now. I honestly don't know Dragon Link as well as I probably should to be building this list, but we're going for it. I don't give a shit. Extra deck stuff real quick while we're here. Might as well do Striker Dragon in there. Romulus. That's why we play Dragon's Ravine. Speaking of which, let's grab the Ravine. Very nice. Terraforming needs to be here, right? Because it either grabs an amazing extender like Ravine or an amazing just like, you know, value card like Boss Stage. So gotta have that there. Okay, what's next? Rocket stuff. Chaos Space is pretty interesting here. The one thing on Chaos Space, and we'll come back to this at the end, is really looking at how many things we have to discard. I guess we do have these two are light and dark. All of the Dogmatic Engine is light. All of the rocket stuff is dark. So we literally have all light and darks in the deck right now. That's actually pretty good. Okay, we'll take it. We'll keep it in for now. We'll see where the rest of the engine ends up and how usable the card will be. Speaking of which, if we're going to have this in here, we need to have the two Dingles. So Wyver Bursters, the first one, and then Collapse Serpent. And I mean, we'll throw in a Levianeer for now. I don't think he is a must play, but we'll put it in there for now, and then we'll come back and take a look at him. But part of the reason I really want to play these is for one particular card. It's not Savage, but Savage is obviously good, but it is Chaos Ruler, the something nasty dragon. Where is he at? This guy. Okay, so the idea behind the deck with the rockets specifically is, one, the rockets already give you really good value of like worst case scenario. A lot of times they're just going to get you to a spheres, which is disruption plus a follow-up. Or you can even potentially get into this card, which is a little more higher ceiling, and he's going to let you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, pick one to add to your hand, and send the rest to the grave. So you kind of get to look and just take any one power card from any engine, right? You grab an Nadir's Servant, you grab a Boss Stage, you grab a Chaos Space, and then you're able to extend into like, you know, stronger Dragon plays. Whatever it is, you get some solid value there. And the other thing I wanted to include here is Eldritch cards. Because if you play an Eldritch engine in here, once you look at the top 5 cards off of a Chaos Dragon, the rest go to the grave. So you take something like a Boss Stage or a Nadir, and then like you send like 1 or 2 Eldritch cards to grave, and they will get you more pluses on top of it. It's just insane value off of making 1 level 8 synchro. Too good to pass up. So yeah, we have Eldritch. Let's see, what else do we got here? For Eldritch stuff, might as well play Cursed Eldland. Just get insane value off this card for sure. You can pop it with Tracer to get like the additional send, which is really good. And you have a lot of cards here. Oh, I didn't even hold on. Geez, the best rocket card in existence, Quick Launch. I didn't even put this in there. I'm such a doodlehead. God dang. Let's move this up here, keep our engines relatively together. So Cursed Eldland, and here's the thing though, I don't want this deck to be like too, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want the Eldritch engine to be too large, because if it is, like, the deck isn't supposed to grind. With like all these other things we have in the list, with all these other engines, like the deck is not going to be grinding. So I don't think we need a full Eldritch package, because normally that's like what you're looking at, right? Is like, ooh, yeah, that's why I want to max out on all 3 of these and all 3 of these, because I don't want to run out before the duel's over. Now, technically it is possible we end up in a situation like that, but I'm only going to play 1 Golden Lord, because 1, if Golden Lord gets popped, we don't auto lose. It's just not the kind of deck we're playing. We have so many other engines we can lean on. Even just being able to summon Conquistadors and Hawkeros to just get like bodies on board and link up into something like a Boral Sword or whatever, like you still get value from them. So I'm honestly not too like pressed on that, and I like, I'm just not worried about it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm really not. So 1 Golden Lord, if we get DD Crow, that's fine. It's like the only part of our engine that like actually cares about DD Crow there, so that should be fine for the Eldritch package. Next up, couple at least defensive stuff that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. Frame Gear Gamma probably needs to be in here, which means the driver. I mean, as you go down like the list of our deck right now, like Generator, Boss Stage, if we didn't end on any monsters, obviously our opponent's going to want to Ash that. Nadir is a huge one, right? That's always going to bait and Ash. Most people aren't going to hit Quick Launch, because Quick Launch is so free that like Or like if I throw a hand trap at that, I'm just a fool. But Chaos Space is another one. Cursed Eldland is potentially another one. And yeah, so there's like a ton of stuff that like Gamma can hit. And while we're at it, we might as well throw Lambda in the extra, because we could easily see this card and just have enough bodies to make a Lambda and make this an extra live card in the hand. But okay, again, by the way, light, dark, dark, light, 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 light. Chaos Space is like hella live in this deck, so I like that a lot. Trying to think of some other stuff. Omega. I also didn't even throw the Chaos Ruler Dragon into the extra when I had the chance, because I'm a doodle head. Let's go. Okay. Nice. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss is probably pretty good, right? Because we can just make him, if we have like a more heavy Dragon Link hand, we should be able to potentially extend into him pretty easily. I did not grab the Dragon Link Field Spell. Rocket Field Spell, I should call it. Yep, that's another technically field spell that we can switch off Terraforming. I don't recommend it, but I guess in a very, very specific scenario, that could be possible. A couple cards I'm going to leave out of here for now. I do think Chamber Dragon Maid plus like Tidying is like a potential add in here. But one, Chamber is not getting reprinted until Gold Series, so it's still very, very expensive. And I probably won't be picking that card up. So as far as making this a possible deck I could build in person, we'll leave that out of there. Forbidden Droplets, I think, is also pretty good. Just looking at like a lot of the cards, like Eldritch cards, it's obviously very good with. Cursed Eldland, Absa Router triggers that. If you draw the generator bosses, like just it's an outlet to get them out of the hand, like make somewhat use of them there. So we do have a handful of like solid discards. So I don't think Droplet's horrible, especially after like also boss stage, after we've like summoned them on our opponent's turn, we could then Droplet on the opponent's turn. So after we've gotten like value off it, that works there. So pretty good. Also like Ravine and Boot Sector Launch, they're like free real estate once you've like used their main effects. So I do think Droplet makes a lot of sense in the list, especially because like hand traps in a 60 card list don't feel very good at all unless you can fit at least 15 of them in, and that's not really what I'm trying to do with my life at this point. So I kind of like the idea here of playing something like Droplet, but I don't know if it's... Here's the thing, like the deck's still good at going second. I mean, you look at all these insane cards, right? Like we're activating Nadir into boards. If they don't have a raw negate, we're going to dump Intis and get an Ecclesia and just apply like a ton of pressure just with one card if they don't have a negate, right? Same thing with like rocket cards, like Dragon Link, obviously very good at playing through interruptions. We're not playing a pure one, so it's not all like quite as necessarily good, but still going to be good nonetheless. Also, Eldritch is not horrible going second, especially if you open Cursed Eldland. You can just like search Eldritch himself and then pitch him with another spell trap to like bait something, and then use his effect engrave to like try and come back as well. Very, very like not intimidating, but I don't know, just good. And also like Gamma's really good going second. I don't know, like maybe I don't need to focus on it that much. I guess if you have Droplet, I would try and find space for it here. And then I'm going to include one more engine here because I do think it's possible to like try and play something like the Dragon Maid package with like obviously Chamber and that. But I also think that this is something you go with. This is another normal summon reliant package, right? The Dragon Maid package is super reliant on normal summon. And so if we go Meltdown, one, it gives us another target for terraforming, and two, it might be enough copies of field spells in the deck to actually make something like, what is that card called? I can't even remember what that card's called right now, and it's peeving me off. We play one Alistair, because again, we're not playing like an actual invoked dedicated list, so like, if they get rid of Alistair, I don't care. I really don't. Invocation? Yeah, so Invocation is the only like dedicated brick to that engine, but that is fine. What is that? Oh my gosh, what's the quick play spell that like gives one field spell to you, one to your opponent? Because between Dragon's Ravine, Boss Stage is going to be the one that you give to your opponent a lot, unless you won Boss Stage. you're going to be giving boss stage to your opponent all the time, I would assume. I don't even know, to be honest. Okay, so I guess we could also throw Pisty in here just as another Link 1 to like clear the body off the field, which actually can matter, I believe, in Dragon Link. We need the spheres. We definitely need more than one, probably. We have a pretty big Dragon Link package. Definitely don't want to like not have a second spheres and like regret it. Masquerena is pretty good here. We use the cool art because why the hell not? And then we have to play Unicorn if we're gonna play that. Boop. And I guess Boral Sword. I guess we could look at access code, but just to make it a little more budget, it's already a 60 card list playing a lot of meta engines. I guess that's oh my gosh. My brain literally like saw the name of the quick play spell that I can't remember, and then I like couldn't grab it. You know when you're just like, it's right there, it's right there. Yeah, sorry, you can't see the extra deck, by the way. Hold on, I can fix that. I can do that, but then you can't see like the top. I guess if we do something like that, it's probably closest we can get without doing like any too crazy editing here. Oh yeah, and so there's also like stuff that like we can take out here. Like I said, I don't know if we probably don't need 2 Recharger and 2 Synchron, maybe 2 of one of them but not the other. Kind of lean towards Recharger, so I'm gonna drop the Synchron. I don't know if Levineer's there, but honestly there's bricks in the deck, man. Invocation, both of these guys. I wouldn't necessarily call these bricks, but I wouldn't necessarily call Fleur-de-Lis a full-on brick either. Boot Sector Launch is a brick though. Goldmore's kind of a brick, and Driver's a brick. So you know what? I'm gonna drop the Levineer. I just don't like the idea of like the amount of bricks we're playing right now. So I think cutting that will actually help us in the long run. What is that card called? I'm going crazy. Set. There you go. Set rotation. There we go. Why was that so hard? I'm such a dummy. Okay, so set rotation. Very cool. I don't know where else to go from here. Like, I guess we could try and fit in hand traps, but like, what's the point at the end of the day when it comes to that? The X-Drake, by the way, there's probably small wiggle room in here. I don't know exactly what it is. Pisty may not be fully necessary. I still like Lambda, but he might not be fully necessary. I think the rest there are pretty necessary. Omega for when you use Gamma. Oh man, you could literally resolve Gamma on your turn and then make Chaos Ruler. It's insane. Savage, obviously. Hot Red, I think, if you're going to do like Dragon Link shenanigans. Don't know if 2 Makaba is going to be fully necessary, but I guess it could be because obviously if you're going to, via just doing invoked things, end with an Alistair in hand. So you could easily have like a be on track to like do it again. Very interesting. Another one I guess is like Triple Tactics Talent. That's like another card that kind of goes like right there with like the Gammas, just like and Droplet as like a going second card. It's in the Megaton, so I'll probably be picking it up after this. So that's a card I'm like not afraid to put in here, but just you see Droplet. You know what? This doesn't have to be 60 cards. We don't want to put cards that are going to hurt our deck in here. So I guess maybe you could put 3 Droplet and then any one other card you think is good, and then mess around with the extra deck. Like maybe it's right to have, oh, you know what? That I don't have here is, what's it? Is her. If we're gonna play the Invoked Engine, don't you need her like just to link off the Alistair and guarantee a light to be in rotation so that you can guarantee Makaba? Yeah, I think we do need that, to be honest. Interesting. So this seems pretty close, right? Like I'm not fully sure that we need Pisty as well. So I'm like, maybe it's just like double Makaba. Maybe it's just double Makaba in case we need to reestablish one, but Honestly, one's probably fine. Maybe you play an Algoides, because like ideally if they added Makaba, he'd be in grave and you could like, and if they shuffled him back, you have him back in grave, back in deck to make him again. But if not, he'd be in grave to be able to make Algoides if that's what you wanted to do. Maybe it's Algoides, a little better going second with a free trigger to like pop something. Yeah, let's look at that, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that feels pretty good. That's 56 cards. It's not 60. I'm sure there's something else we can try and put in here. Definitely let me know in the comment section down below if there's any other like dragon cards that you think are like fully necessary. I don't know if there's anything off the top of my head. I'm not a Dragon Link player, far from it actually. But this feels pretty good. I mean, let's scroll up a little bit here and let's go through it one more time just from the top. We have our 3 copies of Generator Boss Stage. This is one of the coolest cards in the deck. In fact, I think it's the coolest card in the deck. Obviously, it requires you playing bricks, but it is what it is. We're playing 2, so if you draw 1, you can still summon the other. Triple Nadir, triple Ecclesia. We want to see one or the other in pretty much every duel if we can. 1 Fleur-de-Lis for power, and it's, you know, closer to 60 cards. So we're not going to see our bricks as often as you would in a 40. So I feel okay playing this card. I have 2 punishment here as well. This should probably be 1, to be honest. Yeah, let's put that at 1. I want to see more engine stuff than I do the payoffs. And this deck is not supposed to grind, so I'm not as worried about not having like a punishment. Ooh, that's what I'm missing. We're missing like send targets for punishment. And I know I'm not playing the Shaddoll stuff either, because if we play the Shaddoll stuff, we definitely can't play the Invoke stuff. Like, definitely not. This is really tough, because if you want to play like more than 1 Invoke target, you get like really dicey, because you have 3 extra targets for that. The Dragon stuff needs Striker, need 2 Spheres. You probably need Romulus if you want to play like Dragon's Ravine and stuff. You need Chaos Ruler. We need Boral Sword. We probably need Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Otherwise, we might not have great payoff for even like opening a heavy Dragon Link hand. Ooh, this is tough. This is really tough, because I need to play like probably an Intis and maybe a Titaniclad as well. I honestly don't think Boral Sword's that necessary. Like, am I crazy? I'm definitely crazy. I think Algoides is droppable, first and foremost. Can we just talk about that? So we can play the Intis, which is super necessary because 1, we can send it off a Nadir going second to pop a card and get a search, but also it makes our punishment a much stronger interruption. And I'd love to see Titaniclad in here as well. What can I drop though? Lambda's not necessary. I really don't think Lambda's fully necessary. It's kind of like a very, very situational link that I don't think is that big of a deal, especially since like the Gammas can be discarded off of Chaos Space. They're very easy to trigger in the first place. Yeah, why not? And also, if we make like IP Masquerade as part of our board, we need a discard anyway. And if we're making Makaba, we need a discard anyway. So like, not the end of the world. You're essentially gammaing at that point anyway, but better. Yeah, so let's grab Titaniclad and let's rock with that. I think that's a little bit closer. Keep in mind, these are possible cards that could end up in here. Still like Boral Sword though, just in case you just have bodies and you need to find a way to OTK. That'll probably win you a couple duels there. But okay, moving on though. From there, triple Meltdown with the Alistair and the 1 Invocation. Just 1. Again, same thing with like the golden, the Eldritch engine. Like we just need to find one of these 4. Right, these are requirements, and then obviously that's a requirement as well. But I don't think we need to play more Alistair. It's not like Ecclesia. He's not an extender. He's a starter. Triple Quick Launch, probably the single best like starter, and the extender probably maybe Nadir is better as a 1 card, as 1 card goes. Tracer's insane. Recharge is really good. Synchron, a requirement. Absa Router. Not sure if double this is fully necessary, but I don't know. If you can just get him out of the hand, like he's gonna get you a search, so I don't really care. Maybe he's a one-off as well though. 1 Boot Sector Launch. This is like the 1 card that's like completely useless if you draw it. We have Dragon Ravine. Oh, that's why this card's good, because if we can just like naturally put 2 dragons on the field while having him in hand, you just discard him off of Ravine. Again, there's another card that discards, so making stuff like the side frames better, the Eldritch stuff a little bit faster depending on what you have, and like certain bricks, just less brick. Terraforming gets you anything in the deck. Set rotation gets you to like 3 of your separate engines. Chaos Space, insane. Every monster in the deck is light or dark, and there's like 20 of them. It's like almost half the deck, so we will take that all day. Gets you one of your baby dragons. No Levianeer. I figured we just had plenty of bricks. Then the Eldritch Engine, playing a condensed Eldritch Engine, more of the starter and less of the actual package, because we're not really grinding in this deck as much. We're trying to just critical mass, just put a ton of pressure on the opponent all at once and overwhelm them. And then for defensive stuff, the Gammas and the Tactics talents. Keep in mind, I did say if you have access to droplets, consider that as well. We have a lot of field spells, a lot of stuff that gets value when it's sent to grave, and just stuff that stays up on the field, as well as like bricks that like are free discards essentially at that point. So there's that. And then you get to the extract. The extract actually ended up being tougher than the main deck, I think, when you really get down to it. Striker, Double Spheres, Romulus, Masquerena, Unicorn, Boral Sword for links, also the Magistus one, that's just for the invoked engine. For 8s, for Synchro 8s, we have Omega, Chaos Ruler, and Savage, all very good. 1 Hot Red Dragon. I'm not sure if this is fully necessary, but I do think it's probably correct. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know how often it's going to come up to go into that play with the Rocket Synchron with Chaos Ruler to go ahead and end on him. But he's a very, very good interruption. And then for the invoke stuff, just 1 Makaba. The idea is if they out Makaba, there's a decent chance he could be bounced or shuffled anyway, and he could still be an extra. But like most decks don't out him without baiting his negate at that point anyway, which means we would have discarded Alistair, in which point we wouldn't have another Alistair to like normal summon on the next turn anyway. So I'm not going to fret it too much. And then the Intis and the Titanic Clad for your Dogmatica stuff. Ideally turn 1, if we're going first, we could send Titanic Clad to make sure we're ending on a set punishment and a Fleur-de-Lis in hand, whereas if we are going second, we'd have the possibility of sending Intis to get that action going there. But yeah, that's the list I have here. I might do a little more tinkering prior to actually building the deck in real life, but it's such a cool idea. The fact that Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten to the point where we have so many just like splashable generic engines is like so crazy. Also, one more thing I didn't say here is like the Brave Token archetype is coming out in Grand Creators, and the only condition you need to like avoid, like the only stipulation for that package, is that you just can't activate any normal summoned monsters effects. Generators dodge that. Dogmatica's dodge that as long as you could get to an extra deck monster without activating a normal summon effect, right? Invoked is the only thing that conflicts with that, because obviously you need the search off of Alistair to make that work. And sometimes rockets, if you like hard draw Rocket Tracer, you might need to activate Rocket Tracer's effect on the field, but it's also possible that you don't even activate his effect until after, right? You make Striker, get Boot Sector Launch, and then get him back, and then activate his effect after you summoned him again, and that way you're not activating a normal summons effect. So I honestly think take out the invoke stuff, and we could potentially just throw the Brave Token archetype in here as well. That could be something to look at for sure, but obviously that's a little bit down the way. But that's going to do it for me here today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know in the comment section down below suggestions. What can I do with these last 5 slots? Is there another package? Is there a different little set of ratios? Maybe there's some dragon cards I don't have in here that I probably should include just cuz. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I will catch you in the next one. And peace.